you need to think about it from the human perspective. We're all little detectives in our own way, right? We're going to come up with the best solution for ourselves. And like I said, see if it's a good fit. So if you're not doing these things, you're basically hanging closed signs in your doors.
Welcome to the Table Talk podcast, where we get real, meeting with industry professionals and experts in the chiropractic world, talking about the newest and latest, how to scale your practice, the struggles that we all face in practice, and how you can take your practice to the next level.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Table Talk podcast. I am here with someone that I have grown to absolutely love over the past few years. I am here with Ali, who is our Director of Marketing at Elevate Marketing. And we are going to be talking about some of the things that chiropractors do that really hurt their results and the things that they can do to really boost their performance when it comes to Facebook, Google, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube advertising, and the list goes on. Ali, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. So Ali, before we jump in, I know you've kind of had a journey in getting to where you are. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. So I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, spent most of my life there, and then transitioned when I was 18 to go to school out in San Diego, California. It was at San Diego State where I got my advertising degree. So from there, I went to work for 100% Chiropractic in a little bit of a different role. I was working with the executive team, with the CEO there, and kind of acting as a liaison between 100% and the Elevate company. That's where I really got my toes wet in lead generation, learning what marketing was for chiropractors, proper things to do, what not to do, things like that. So over a year and a half working at the corporate level there, I finally transitioned into a role that's way more suited for me with my advertising background. Came to work for Elevate, started as a marketing consultant with clients of my own, and eventually developed, my skills and moved up to a role, the director role here.
Okay. And so Ali, I want to touch on your educational background in advertising, because I come from obviously the chiropractic world and running a business. And I think that, I kind of learned some of those things through the hard knocks. And there was a lot of things that I didn't learn in school, especially when it comes to advertising and marketing and things like that. When you were in school, some of the basic principles and things that you were taught and how those apply to digital marketing, would you mind, just kind of sharing your kind of thoughts there?
I think one of the major things that's always stuck with me, and I'm sure everyone who's been in marketing has heard it before, but they actually teach you this in school. Content is king, right? So, you have to stay relevant with things that are going on with the trends, things like that. Your offer is only as good, it all comes together, right? So you can have a great offer, but if your content is lacking, you're never going to reach the people that you're wanting to reach. So that's one of the main things that sticks out to me from my time in school and advertising. Keeping things concise, that's another thing. You can't really be confusing in your message, right? And then one acronym that kind of sticks out to me, or abbreviation, keep it simple, stupid. So KISS, right? Leave everyone with a kiss.
I love it. And so now if we take that and we apply it to, digital marketing, pay-per-click advertising, Facebook, Google, what are the things that you see that a lot of chiropractors make mistakes with when it comes to that? I
think the biggest mistake from chiropractors comes from the lack of knowledge or really full understanding on what we're trying to do here, right? I feel like most people come in with an idea on what they want or what marketing is, and it's kind of really hard to steer them away from that preconceived idea or what they've done in the past. Okay. For example, a lot of people work with multiple agencies throughout their time, right? So they kind of take whatever happened at one agency and try to replicate it and do it again and do it again. However, the reason why they're doing that is because they don't like the results, right? So, just the full understanding of, we need to change things. We need to strategize things. Just because it wasn't working this way doesn't mean it can't work another way, right? So just kind of being able to modify and mold and learn and just kind of stick it out. That's the main thing.
Yeah. And I know I was guilty of this, before kind of getting an understanding and like really diving in deep to what marketing is. And I was jumping from I think I worked with 6 or 7 different agencies before I started working with Elevate and eventually bought into the company and now own the company, because I realized what it could do. What do you see from clients that do that often?
For people that are bouncing around, things like that, it kind of goes off what I was just talking about, how they try to replicate things that they've done at other agencies that weren't working, right? So they get in this mindset that marketing doesn't work for me, right? And then they carry that to every agency and just have this, preconceived idea that marketing just simply doesn't work. And that's not the case. Marketing works. It's just you have to work with the marketing, right? So it's not a set it, forget it. We have one plan. It's not like, it is like investing in stocks, but it's not like the set it, forget it part, right? You set it and then you work at it. So you want to see those trends. You want to do different things. But I think the biggest downfall of switching and changing and doing all those things is you never get to experience the full capacity of what marketing can do, because marketing isn't a Band-Aid solution. Marketing isn't something that overnight you're going to go viral and have 20 new patients walk through your door, right? If it was that simple, everyone would do it. You have to work at it. You have to put in the progress and the motions and honestly strategize and continue to strategize. Something that worked last year at this time will not work the same time this year, right? And so I think people get into the mindset of it's not working, I need to do something different. But the something different is the agency, not the strategy. And I think that's where we go wrong.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we're coming out of a season where, there was a lot, especially swing states, right? There's a lot of advertising dollars put into Facebook and Instagram, from political campaigns. But the one that most people don't really think about is November, December is where e-commerce spends, 60, 70, 80% of their marketing budgets on a yearly basis. And we see a lot of times that we'll see people pausing ads or doing things this time of year. They think that this agency doesn't get results, or they don't do, they aren't getting the things that they want now. You got to realize that from my perspective, I'm competing against other chiropractors in my area.
Yep.
But the reality is that you're competing against other people, everyone, right? The person who's running ads for new sneakers, or the HVAC company that's down the street, because you're bidding on those clicks. So when it comes to, our clients, I mean, you've been in the trenches, you've done this for a while. What do you think the most common problem with an individual client's advertising is, especially when they're kind of, maybe stuck in their ways, or like, this is, to your point of like, this is how I want to do it, or this is how it should be done. What are the things that you typically see problems with, or the reason why people struggle?
Well, main issues I see are people not willing to, understand the market or come to terms with the market, right? I think a lot of times our clients think that we dictate the market, right? Like, we're telling you this offer, we're telling you what to put in it, right? However, we don't dictate the market whatsoever, right? We are knowledgeable about the market and we can help you come to terms or, decide things about the market. However, that's the whole reason we do what's called a map report over here, right? Because we don't dictate the market. So we need to take a close look at things that are going on, what your competitors are doing, what every other business around you is doing. Even if you want to run general chiro, what are the decomp ads in your area? What are the neuropathy ads in your area? We need to take this total look at what's going on. What is the local gym doing, right? That's health and fitness, right? So there's other things that are playing into these offers, playing into these price points, things like that, right? So I think it's just being able to come to terms with, okay, this is the new patient offer, for example, I have in my head. However, no one else in my area, let's say, is running a $87 new patient offer, right? Everyone in my area is doing $49, $47, $37, right? So right there, we know we have to meet the market where it's at, right? We're outpricing ourselves out of the market. That's not anything that's set by me. That's not anything that's set by you. That's strictly based on competition and what we're seeing. So I think the main struggle that we have are people come in with an idea on how they want to run their business and how it should be. However, we have to strategize and modify and do these different things in order to get you to where you want to go. And so being able to adapt and modify and change is really what marketing's all about.
Yeah. Your local area is going to dictate what sort
Absolutely.
of offers and things you should be doing. And that's not That's not a good or bad. It could be good for someone. It could be bad for another.
Right.
But if you're not willing to do the things that you need to in order to be successful, then, and you still want to be able to do digital advertising, you kind of put
Right.
yourself in a rock and a hard place when you make those sort of decisions.
Right. You kind of limit yourself right off the bat.
How about as far as like producing content and, you said content is king. What are the things that you see from, maybe the most successful offices that you work with that they do that other offices don't?
I would say the main thing is staying up, like I said, on trends, on things that are going, but also providing value in your content, right? So it's fun to do all the viral, reels, TikToks, whatever. But when you're advertising, right, you really have to just hone in on your why. Keep it concise, like I said, and really make it appealing to the masses, right? Why can I trust you with my care? Why should I pick you over Dr. Joe Schmo down the street, right? Like, why would I come to you over that person? And really just separating yourself and differentiating yourself from the competition with your content and providing that value, building that relationship. These people don't know you online. They're generally very cold leads, right? So you need to not only build that engagement, but also that relationship with people, because if I'm a normal human just scrolling through Facebook and I come across your ads, I'm going to want to feel something. I'm going to want to connect with you. You're going to need to make, some sort of movement with that person in order to get them to take those next steps, right? We need great content. Content is king. However, we also need a lot of content, right? Because we are testing, we are doing different things within your market. So just uploading like one amazing Hollywood video is simply not enough. And I've had clients do that where they produce this just amazing ad and it just absolutely flops, right? So you need to make sure that you're providing material that we can use, different things, different mixes of things, and really just being able to test variety of, images, videos, things like that. So, a lot of people get set in, okay, well, I uploaded, 5 photos. That should be enough. It's simply not enough. We need way more than that, because let's say we test one of those photos or we test 2 of those photos and, they don't work. Then what do? We have 3 photos to work with for X amount of time. And what if those don't work after a few days, right? So just having enough on hand to really get you the results that you need and find what your audience is reacting to.
It's funny. I was watching a guy he produced a video just on basic advertising. And I was just going through, it caught my attention. I stopped and I watched it on YouTube, and he was walking through the steps of like, hey, this is how you do advertising. This is how you set up a Facebook business manager. This is how you set up an ad account. This is how you set up different ad sets. This is how you do this. And he gets through the entire process of showing you how to set up ads, the technical. And he gets to the very end of the video and he says, but I'm going to be honest, all of this is just the nuts and bolts. This is the 5%. The 95% of where you get your success is from your offer and from the content that you produce for that offer.
Absolutely.
Because it was a 20-minute video and I'm like watching it, just like seeing, hey, does this guy do anything different than what we do?
Yeah.
But it's like the technical side is the technical side, but the offer and the content is what differentiates.
It is, for sure. I mean, people see that sticker tag, they see that price, that's what draws them in or pushes them away initially, right? It's the hook at the beginning of your video that draws them in, It's the reactions. Like, one of my favorite things is putting together a bunch of reactions of chiropractic adjustment patients. Like, people love to see that. It's funny, it's goofy, they can relate to it, so it makes them feel, like I said, a certain way, and they want to be a part of whatever that is, what's going on in that office. They can relate. They feel like they belong. So it's really creating that connection.
And I think that's really important, especially when you think about it, like from a content perspective, because at the end of the day, if someone is looking for a chiropractor in their, say, 5 to 10 mile sphere,
right?
And I put 12 chiropractors in line that are in that area, and I said, you have 30 seconds to tell me why I should work with you. That's what they're getting.
Yep.
And I mean, that's their first impression. And they might go to your website, they might go to your Google reviews, they might go to your Facebook page, but they're looking for more content. They're looking for things that you're producing that separate you, because otherwise, if you don't have those things already in place, you're not doing anything to set yourself apart.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a firm believer that, the Facebook ad starts the conversation, like you said. And if I'm actually interested, I'm going to click on your ad and go to your Facebook page, right? Or I'm going to go to your Instagram. I'm going to seek you out. I'm going to check out your Google reviews, like you said. And if all of that does not match kind of what I was looking for, I'm simply not going to become a new patient in your office.
Right. Well, and then the cool part with Facebook is that we have the ability to attribute that data, right?
Right.
With things like pixels and things like that, to know that that person went to your website, they booked an appointment, or they came back to the ad, to be able to see, what did that person do, right? What are they doing between when they first see your ad and what they did, on the back end of it.
Right.
So I think that's something that's pretty cool. So let's start there. Most successful offices, if you were going to give the top 3 things that they do that separates them from other clients, what would you say it is?
I would say they have a total marketing kind of package or concept for their office, right? They're not just doing one thing. They're doing multiple variety of, lead generation, getting people in, whether that be Facebook, Google, SEO, boots on the ground. They're not just focusing on one media or one way to get those in. Second thing is, like I said, staying up on content, because when we see things start to decrease or plateau, right, we need to revamp things, and it takes so much longer to get you the results or back to where you were if you were still waiting on content from someone, right? So just having that on hand, constantly uploading it and uploading good content, that's something that can separate you. The other thing that I think a lot of people don't think about, but it's their organic marketing. So what are they doing not on paid ads, right? Are you active on Instagram? Are you posting stories? Are you active on your Facebook page, in your local community Facebook groups? I like to say, and I said it already, that Facebook starts the conversation, but if you're not posting on Instagram, especially for someone like in my generation, let's say, you might as well hang a close sign in your door, because I'm going to go there and I'm going to see you're not posting since 2020. I think your office isn't open. I'm not even going to try to contact you. Right. So, I mean, you need to think about it from the human perspective. We're all little detectives in our own way, right? We're going to come up with the best solution for ourselves. And like I said, see if it's a good fit. So if you're not doing these things, you're basically hanging closed signs in your doors.
Man, that is like such good information. And so when clients do those things, right? So when they execute on those things, what do you typically see their results looking like?
We typically see, when they're up on it, we are hitting their goals, right? We're seeing the lead volume that they want. We're hitting cost per leads that they want. We're seeing new patients walk in through their doors, right? So, I mean, it's a whole mix of those things. I mean, we're getting them the results that they're looking for because they're engaged, they're involved, and they're active in their marketing. Like I said, it's not like the stock market where you can set it and forget it. Of course, we want to, put something in and constantly see that trend like a stock market. But marketing is something that you need to work at. It's not just something that you can walk away from and say, well, I put the money in.
I built my practice on health talks screenings for the first few years, and I just got burnt out on doing it.
Right.
I think about all the work and the time, the effort and the energy that would go into some of those things. And then you'd go out to some of these events and you'd pay, $1,500 for a booth, and it was a 3-day event. You've got your team out there and your staff, and the weather is terrible, and it was a total bust. You got 4 or 5 people for the weekend where you thought the previous year you got 30 or whatever. Yeah. They don't come back and say, well, the screenings don't work. They come back and say, well, all of these factors played into this not executing. And it's the same with advertising. And so, I bring this as a point because, a lot of the people that we work with, what I see is that they're trying to take a step back from doing those sort of things.
Right.
They're trying to get more time with their family, or they're trying to get more time where they're not having to be out Saturday from 8 to 8 at a screening booth in a local, festival or fair or whatever it may be. But they don't want to put the work into it that's required to continually get those patients in the doors. The way that I ran my practice is that, I saw patients Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and half a day on Tuesday, and Fridays were off. But I wasn't golfing. I wasn't out, a big deer hunter. I wasn't out deer hunting during those times, maybe occasionally, but I was taking that time and investing into growing my practice. I was recording content. I was creating content. I was recording ads, and I would meticulously go through those and spend time, not just shooting an ad or whatever, but I would take time to write that ad. I would take time to sit down and think about what I was going to say and how I was going to communicate that message. I know that we help our clients to be able to do this, to be able to come up with that. But at the end of the day, it's their story, and we can help them to create that story, but they're the ones who have got to go and record it and be able to create that content to be able to actually make it work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always make this joke with my clients that, if the funds were there and we could duplicate the MCs and we could be in the office shooting the content, of course we would be there without a doubt. You know what I mean? Like, we want to see you guys succeed. It's just not something that we have, capable of right now. So, getting that content, being the people to shoot it is so beneficial. And I mean, Dr. Kendall, you can even probably touch on this too. Getting 10 videos, 10 photos is way easier than going and standing at an event for 5-6 hours. That might not even pan out, right? So when you're comparing apples to oranges in a way, but apples to apples, and you're saying you want to put in the work, well, put in the work that's, going to be most effective, that takes the least amount of your time, right? So there should be no issue getting that content or scheduling an hour of content every week, right? I mean, like we said, it's either that or your boots on the ground 5 hours at an event. At a certain point, time is money, and I get that, right? So, I mean, work with us to help us help you.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the things that a lot of offices don't think about. Hey, we need content, and this is what happens. Because, we've gone through this with clients before where it's like, it's not working or this is not working. And I talk with you guys and I'm like, okay, what are you guys seeing? They're like, the content is bad. We'll look at a set of ads, and if it's, a 2 to 3 day trend where it's trending down, we're recognizing that.
Absolutely.
And we're always trying to push our clients to be able to get us content before that ever happens. So that way, instead of the 2 to 3 day trend downwards, we can say, hey, your ads are starting to dip. We're going to put this new creative active and see how it does, but continue to keep getting us content. What a lot of times we see happen with clients when they're not doing things proactively is that you start to see that trend, and we've been telling them for a week that, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they need to get us more content. Well, you've got 3 days of slipping, and then let's say it takes another 3 days to get that content. And then let's say if we're really on it, and it takes us a day or 2 days for our video editors or our image editors to touch up those images and make them work. Well, now you've just wasted 10 days where either your ads are not performing, they're underperforming, or they're not performing at all. So you've wasted 10 days worth of ad spend and management fee when you could have just taken the time to consistently build that content library. And instead of a 10-day dip, maybe you got it's a little blip in the map. And so you can keep that sort of consistent. And
clients tend to be way more reactive than proactive about this.
Clients think that we're being reactive, but the reality is that if an ad is performing, we're going to keep that ad running until it starts to dip. And once it starts to dip, that's when we need to have everything else ready to go to start tweaking, optimizing, and getting new content. Because like we said, 2 things play into it: your offer and your content. And so if we don't have that content, you're in trouble, right? Or your ads are going to start to dip. What I've seen is that, our clients who are doing 8, 10, 15 to 1 return on their investment, those are the ones that always have the most amount of content in their folders as possible.
And a mix of content. I mean, images, videos, patient testimonials, care videos, treatment videos, office tours, everything. I mean, they encompass everything. It's not just one thing.
If I had Ali in my office for 1 day and I was going to shoot content with Ali in my office with 1 day and I had patients in there, what would be the top, say, 3 to 5 things that you would make sure that every one of your clients has as a content piece for their office?
I mean, I think it's as important as, I love doc talk style videos or doctor address style videos. So, I mean, that's as simple as setting up your phone selfie style, right? And taking a video of yourself at the front desk talking about who you are as a doctor, your why, if you specialize in anything, those things that will pull them in. Even talking about, your practice, what got you into chiropractic, those kinds of things. Your staff, everyone's afraid to get their staff involved for some reason, right? We have a lot of clients who the doctor is the one all be all in all content, right? And that's great. But I mean, people can get tired of seeing the same person, right? I always compare it to like the OxyClean commercial at 3 a.m., right? You've seen Billy Mays 20 times and you're like, I'm so sick of Billy Mays. People just get over it, right? So, I mean, mixing up the people in the content as well. If you have other doctors in office, CAs, massage therapists, just general staff, office managers, like get everyone involved. That's the best part too, right? Have the CAs at the front desk, have them talk about, why they got into chiropractic care, why they're passionate about it, right? Other than the doc, we want messages like from just general people who are passionate in the office working there, who dedicate their time to be there to help people, right? Other things too, like office tours, like I said, those are awesome. People really want to see what's going on behind the curtain, right? They want to see, a lot of people aren't familiar with chiropractic care, like myself included. Before I started working at 100%, I had to go through a, new patient experience in one of their offices. And it wasn't until that new patient experience, even I fully understood what chiropractic care was, what I was getting involved in, the benefits, things like that. So kind of peeling back the curtain for people, talking about the benefits, staying on top of, seasonal things like allergies, flus, things like that. But also just getting everyone involved, getting content shot. The next thing too that I always really like are patient testimonials. And there's a bunch of different ways where you can do these. So you can either, sit down and have a conversation and pull out that testimonial. You can do what I like to call kind of before and afters, or, where you're on the table with the patient. Okay, what brought you in today? Where are you experiencing pain? They say, oh, my lower back, it's just been killing me. You perform the adjustment, you pull them off the table and you say, how are you feeling now? That's the simplest way to get a testimonial right on the spot, right? Because they're just getting up off the table. Sometimes you get, like I said, a funny little reaction, which is also great. We love that. It makes everything a little more human. But I mean, people will just talk once they're feeling good, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's so good. And I think that one of the things that we've seen is, and you kind of alluded to it earlier, is that some of the stuff that's over dramatized, overdone, the highly edited, commercialized sort of stuff doesn't really work that well. Your advertisements, especially online, really need to look like it is just something that an office posted, like it's something that would naturally occur in your feed, although it's a paid advertisement. The stuff that is highly commercialized, it just doesn't work for Facebook advertising like people think it's going to.
I mean, sometimes we will intentionally edit organic material for our clients to kind of mimic that organic style post, right? I mean, you have to think about it too. Social media started not for people to be sold at. Social media started for people to build relationships, right? So people don't go to social media to be sold at. That's not how we were trained to enjoy social media, right? So you need to provide value. You need to provide content. You can't just sell at people 24/7, right? There's this rule in marketing. It's the 80-20 rule. I'm sure there's the 80-20 rule for many things in life, but 80% of your content should provide value. And then 20% of it can be that selling part.
I think that this was absolutely gold. Like every single chiropractor should watch this video, whether you work with us or not, because it's going to help you to be able to get the results. And we're obviously always here as a resource if you want to jump on a strategy session and talk through it. Right. And there's no risks involved in that. But if you were going to you were in front of a chiropractor and they were asking you about digital marketing, what would be the one key piece of advice that you would give them to make sure that they get the most out of their marketing experience?
So, I mean, if you're getting into digital marketing, you're of course looking at agencies, looking to work with someone, right? So maintaining that relationship with your agency, right? Trusting them. I think one of the main things is like, you need to go in and understand that we're here to help you, right? We're on the same team. And so just going in and going all in is the main thing, right? Being willing to trust the people that you're working with, that they're going to work to get you results. I think that's the main thing. And I think that's how you should pick your marketing agency, right? You need to work with people that you trust to get you those results, right? And even if you're not hitting those goals right away or, in month 1, month 2, you need to know that the team that you're working with will get you there by month 4, 5, 6, right? Just having a dedicated team behind you and being willing to ride out the trends, work with them, provide content, hop on check-in calls, really be, like I said, active and engaged in your marketing. That is the main thing. The best thing that you can do for yourself is to just be involved.
Well, Ali, I think that is where we can wrap for today. But for those of you guys that are out there listening, I'm going to end with the question that I always ask every guest, which is, Ali, what is something that you are working on right now, either professionally or personally, that you've not figured out and you're still working on?
Oh my goodness. Are you guys good with cars? Because I've got a lot of issues with my car currently, and I just cannot figure it out for the life of me. I think it might be time for a new car, and I just bought this one. So, I mean, that's my biggest struggle personally right now. Professionally, I really want to get us into the new year with some new cool things for our clients, where that be, client reporting, updated dashboards, things like that. So more so focused on that. But if anyone's willing to help me with my car, I will take it.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Ali, for being here. And for everyone out there listening, we look forward to seeing you guys again and have another conversation. A little bit of Table Talk podcast. Everybody have a good day.
If you enjoyed this episode of Table Talk, a chiropractic podcast, make sure that you subscribe and check out the links below to our free Facebook group with chiropractic marketing secrets, our free resource guides, and the links to all of the guests that we have here on the show and ways to be able to connect with them. Thanks and God bless.